Glad you are with us. We are going live now to breaking news on Mercer Street in Seattle, where we know a crane has collapsed and landed on multiple vehicles. We want to get right to Tammy Mutasa, who's live on the scene to bring us up to speed for what she knows. But keep in mind, folks, a very fluid situation. Tammy, what can you tell us? I see a lot of activity over your shoulder.
Yeah, Michelle, we just got to the scene, and if you can imagine a horrifying situation, this could be it. First responders are telling us a crane has fallen on several cars. I want to show you how massive this scene is. You can see right here on Fairview and Mercer, the road is blocked off. We have a massive response from Seattle PD, Seattle Fire Department, and you can see right between the two fire trucks, you can see a massive crane that is in the middle of the road, and you can see, I know there's people standing over there, but there is a car that it's on top of, and it's literally fallen right square on top of that car. At this time, we don't know the extent of injuries or if anyone was inside that car. We know that this is a very fluid situation. It is a massive response. Investigators are all here. It's all hands on deck. They're asking people to avoid this area at Mercer and Fairview. It took us quite a while to even get here because traffic was backed off and there were a lot of roads that were closed just to get to this intersection. We are working to get more information about what exactly happened. And if we can we pan up to the top of this building? I want to draw your attention. It looks like this is a Google building that was under construction, and there's half of the other part of the crane is on top of the building, and you can see there's damage to that building. There's some windows shattered. It looks like part of the building has been mangled where that crane fell off. We can see that there's some workers or people up at the top of that roof where the rest of the crane is, and then it looks like it just fell and the rest of it is on the bottom across the road, and unfortunately on top of several cars, we're told by first responders. Right now we are working very hard to get more information about what happened, what caused this crane to fall, who is injured, who's in the car, if anybody. And as soon as we know all that information, Michelle, we're going to send it right back to you on all our platforms. But for now, back to you guys.
Actually, Tammy, I want to keep you there for a moment and stay live with this photograph and have your photographer push over your shoulder for us and show us what you're seeing there. We understand multiple vehicles are involved. Can you get a sense for how many vehicles and sort of paint the picture for us, what you're seeing around you?
Okay. Yeah, Michelle, right now, what we can see, if you push over my shoulder, and my photographer's going to zoom in, from where I'm standing, I can definitely see one car that is underneath a massive yellow crane. What you're seeing, that metal over there, that looks like a metal barrier or metal bar, that is the crane, and it's in between the two fire trucks. There's a fire truck to the right, and there's some fire trucks to the left, some other fire trucks to the left, and the crane is right in between. And you can see there's some investigators and firefighters there. Right beyond them, there is a car right now that I can see, and firefighters are kind of drawing their attention there. That crane is on top of that car. I can't see any other cars, so first responders did tell us that it fell on several cranes, and I can imagine because it's a massive crane from what we're seeing here on the ground. A lot of people are out here just trying to figure out what is going on. They're curious and want to know, who's there and what is going on, and that's information we're still waiting to hear from investigators. Michelle?
All right, Tammy, thanks very much. We're going to keep you there. We're going to come back to you throughout this newscast. We wanted to take another vantage here.
Yeah, now if you take a live look at this Department of Transportation camera, that is it appears just east of where that crash is. This is along I-5, and you can see the traffic buildup in that area. You can also see those flashing lights, all of the first responders who have rushed to that scene. Again, if you are just joining us, a crane has fallen onto Mercer Street near the South Lake Union neighborhood. That's an area where there has been quite a bit of construction over the past couple years. There are two buildings there owned by Vulcan Properties that are expected to be Google buildings where their employees will be once construction is finished. Again, we're still waiting on details from investigators, but we know that crane has fallen onto several cars. We are waiting for updates on injuries, but just a devastating scene there in the South Lake Union neighborhood of Seattle.
And this happened just a short time ago, and And if we can widen out here, what you're looking at is that is one of the vehicles that we know for certain is pinned underneath that crane, which collapsed just about a half hour ago. As Tammy mentioned, all hands on deck here. And this is a very common area, a very busy intersection. This is right at Mercer and Fairview, and it's just as you're exiting I-5 southbound or northbound on Mercer, you're going to go through this intersection. We don't know what sort of warning happened. We don't know how this happened. And as Gabe mentioned, we do not know at this point the casualties. We expect in about, if there are any casualties, we expect in about 10 minutes to get briefed from the Seattle Fire Department. And once we talk to them, we'll bring that to you live so we know exactly what we're dealing with here. What we'd like to know is, was there somebody inside that crane at the time of the collapse? Again, another live look here. This is from the SDOT cameras. This is from Mercer Street and Terry Avenue. You'll want to avoid this downtown Seattle area, this Mercer Street area right at Fairview, because it is an absolute fluid situation. Emergency vehicles have that area surrounded. I suspect on I-5 right now, traffic really backing up. And if you're wondering or you're stuck in it, this is the reason why. Back now live on the ground at Mercer Street and Fairview Avenue.
And you can see those first responders still working at that scene. We have seen fire crews walking back and forth along that traffic and around that crane. At this point, not only do we not know what the extent of the injuries are, we don't know if anyone may still be pinned within that scene. You can see the crane very much still on top of, it appears, that Audi right in your shot there. Also other cars that possibly were hit by the crane. So we don't know exactly what those first responders are dealing with. We know, though, that several agencies have been called. And as Michelle said, this is an area that is highly trafficked, not only during the week when thousands of Amazon employees walk those streets and go to work in those South Lake Union buildings, but it is also a popular area on weekends where visitors to Seattle will come in to see sites like the Amazon Spheres or other parts of South Lake Union. That is a very, very popular neighborhood. And we can tell you that Tammy Mutasa, our reporter who is at the scene, is about to hear from a PIO in the next few minutes. Again, that's a public information officer. We are expecting to get an update, hopefully, both on the situation involving injuries and potential casualties, as well as the situation with the investigation, exactly how that crane fell off the building. Now, that information may not come for quite some time. We will be patient. Again, this is, as Michelle has said, a fluid situation, but just a devastating scene as we continue to look at these live pictures along Mercer Street in Seattle, where again, a crane has fallen from a building that was under construction, landed across traffic, striking several cars.
Yeah, that's in fact one of the things I want to underscore is that there is more than one vehicle involved here. And what we're efforting to find out is everybody okay? What are we dealing with here? Obviously, the pictures are devastating and very telling indeed. But we will wait for Seattle Fire to brief us and Seattle Police to let us know exactly what they're dealing with. But of course, the matter at hand is taking care of anybody that needs help at this point. And at some point, we'll be talking to Labor and Industry and trying to figure out what happened with this crane collapse. But again, we want to get to, I'm hearing just now that Tammy Mutasa live on the scene has some new information. So let me throw it over to her. Tammy, what do you have? We're having some audio difficulties here. We apologize for that. Tammy Mutasa live on the scene as we push
No
in.
audio. Okay.
Actually, Tammy, we hear you now. Go ahead and fill us in. Tammy Mutasa, back to you.
Can you hear me?
Tammy, we can hear you. Go ahead. All right.
Michelle, we're here on the scene at Mercer and Fairview. Can you hear me, you guys?
We hear you. We can hear you, Tammy. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Like I was saying, we're here at Mercer and Fairview Avenue North, and I wanted to draw attention just a few moments ago. It looked like firefighters were really centered on that Audi, that black Audi that is pinned underneath this massive crane. We couldn't really tell what they were doing, but it looked like a lot of their attention was there. We still don't know if anybody is inside that car, but a lot of people are standing out here by me just trying to, like, hoping that no one is in there, trying to figure out whose car is that and what is going on with the situation. We're expecting to hear from the public information officer in a few minutes. I mean, any moment now. We're just waiting here, and they can see us, and they know that we're here trying to get information so we can pass it on to everybody. But the situation here is more or less the same. In the last few minutes since we've been here, you can see there is a massive crane that has fallen across Mercer Street. We know that several cars are pinned underneath that massive yellow crane. You can see it in between this fire truck and the other fire trucks.
Thank you. Please scoot back.
And right now we're being asked to scoot a little bit back by firefighters and police officers.
We do not want to interfere with that investigation at all. So go ahead, Tammy, and if you can keep walking and talking and get out of the way there, we'd appreciate that.
Yes, Michelle, of course, the first priority is to get information because we all want to know if anybody is hurt and how this happened. I mean, this is an area with a lot of construction. This is South Lake Union. It is a very happening place, and a lot of people are walking by. So we're trying to find witnesses. We're trying to find people who may have seen what happened. And so we'll send it back to you for now until I get more information. We're working really hard to get that, guys.
And Tammy, we appreciate it, and we know that this is still very much an active scene. Again, those first responders surrounding that crane and the cars that have just been mangled by that by this crash, by the crane that has fallen again across Mercer Street. We are again still waiting for updates on injuries or casualties, but it appears from the damage that Tammy showed us just a few minutes ago, the damage to the top of one of those buildings that is under construction. Based on that damage, it does appear that the crane fell quite a distance from the top of that building. Again, we're waiting for more information.
Yeah, and keep it right here. In just about 3 minutes, we do expect to hear from Seattle Fire, where we expect to learn much more about what happened and, more importantly, how everybody is doing that has been impacted by this crash. We know those cars were in the middle of traffic when they were hit and presumably inside their vehicles. We'll wait to hear from Seattle Fire and Police as to what they know about injuries. But for now, we will move on to other news, and we'll get right back to this in just a couple minutes.